From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop Dibiase, the primetime capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And it is time for the premier sports betting show. And you guys already know today's the day, and it is Thursday. So let's go ahead and welcome in our oldest guest, but really just a de facto co-host whenever he feels like doing it. But he's been with me since pretty much day one of us doing the primetime angles and the predecessor Capcast. But all in all, though, let me just go ahead and stop blabbering and bring out none other than the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. How you doing today, sir? How's the weather looking over there on your side of the country?
Well, I'm glad you added Capcast because we go way, way back to the Capcast days, and always good to be here, Pops. Probably low 70s in Cape Cod. It has rained hard the last eight of nine weekends. I think we might actually have a weekend where we don't get rain, which would be great. Before you know it, we'll be talking snow. But blessed and honored, it's Thursday, so when I can, got to make sure that I'm here. So ready for a good show, sir.
All right. So you know what? It was a little bit of a sad. It was a sadness last night. But what's new? You know, in the house of sadness that reigns from that got pictures from Brooklyn and Los Angeles. None other than the bums themselves. Blue Crew Daily. Final segment of Blue Crew Daily for the year has to end bittersweetly. Dodgers swept after 4-homer inning, losing 4-2 to DBacks. What's next? Jeff, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick it off because I know I'm about to really get really pissy. So go ahead and give us the eulogy. And you know what? Don't hold back either. Go ahead, because Dodger fans need to hear this. Dodgers need to hear this. LA need to hear this. Everybody need to hear this. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this. The Dodgers have the same thing in common as the Tampa Bay Rays, the Baltimore Orioles, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees. None of those teams won one game in the playoffs. And as we talked backstage, listen, whether you win 115 games last year, 98 this year, it's a marathon during the regular season. It's 162 games. It takes a lot to get to that finish line. But in the playoffs, it's a sprint. And what happened to LA happened to Toronto. Actually, let me backtrack. What happened to LA happened the same thing to the Orioles. And the point is that 5 days off did the offense no justice. Now, what really, if you look at it this way, and we talked, the Dodgers just had no frontline pitching. And I know they had an offense that was supposed to be able to compete with anyone. But the fact of the matter is Urias is off the team, basically. Buehler never pitched an inning. Carrot Top's been out most of the year. So you wheeled out Kershaw, who was just a shell of himself that got one out. Then you reel out the rookie sensation, Bobby Miller, who gives up 3 in the first. Meanwhile, Kershaw gave up 9 in 2 innings. The pitching staff did. So you're playing from behind the whole time. So now you come back, you got to go to Arizona, and you're like, all right, let's just win an inning. Let's just win this game to get to game 4, then anything can happen. Well, who did you turn to? Fernando Valenzuela wasn't available. I don't know who you could turn to at that point. And so you turned to Lance Lynn that couldn't get you or I out, and he did okay. He muscled it through till I think the fourth inning, and he gave up 4 solo shots, and you made a little rally. But the fact of the matter is, Mookie and Freeman 1 for 21, and then the rest of cast of characters did nothing. Not the way that you wanted it to end or Dodger fans wanted it to end. And correct, they are not firing Dave Roberts, so just save your oxygen and breath. Save it for Oprah, as I like to say. It's very simple. The Christmas present to the Dodgers and the Dodger fans will be Shohei Ohtani. And the getting swept probably means you're going to spend an extra $50 million that you wouldn't have to make sure that you get them. So you go from there. Bueller will be back next year. Carrot Top will be back next year. Gavin Lux will be back next year. Maybe you don't re-sign JD. Maybe you don't re-sign a couple other of the free agents, and then you go out and get another bat to help Mookie and Freeman. Obviously, Shohei will be a big part of that. You got one of the better offensive catchers with Will Smith. You'll be fine. It's just sucks to get swept after another good year. But hats off to the Diamondbacks, 5-0 in the playoffs, 4-0 on the road, waiting for the winner of the Phillies and the Braves, sir.
All right. Well, you know what? I can't really, go against that analogy and everything like that. And, I'm just really frustrated more as with the Dodgers hitting. Pitching is one thing, but when you have guys that, you have the top 4 in your lineup, the first 4 guys in your lineup all hit 100 RBIs, and then literally all of them pretty much hit 30 home runs as well, too. That's really hard to do. You know what I mean? And I just really feel like if it was a different matchup for the Dodgers, not one that was where a team has the extended scouting report on you, they probably would have fared a little bit better. That's why I was really kind of angling for the Cubs and hoping that they would get the Brewers and things like that, because I'm going to keep it real. And if people watch my show on a daily basis, they know the first thing I said about the Diamondbacks after the first series of the year, which was against the Dodgers, which they split 2-2 at the stadium. The Dodgers beat them in 2 blowouts, but the 2 games they won were 2 really close, hard-fought games where it was situational. And I felt that the Diamondbacks had put themselves in a position to where they became a team that actually does have an old school mentality where you put your speed guys at the top and you put your power guys behind them so they can go get the rabbits home. And I love that idea, because what happened is that the Dodgers didn't get beat early in those games. They got beat late in those games. And that's what happens when you have rabbits on the bases for you, is that you can beat teams at any point of a game. And I truly do feel that it was a very simple situation. You had a red-hot Diamondbacks team that barely made the playoffs. They needed the final weekend to make the playoffs. They needed the Cubs to be bad, and that's exactly what happened. They needed a whole 7 days to get in this thing, Jeff. The Dodgers was chilling. They was hanging out, having a good time. They wasn't worried about the playoffs because the playoffs were settled by August 1st. You knew you were going to the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. But the Dodgers kept playing hard. They kept finishing series, so they kind of smoked. And mirrored us a little bit. I'm gonna keep it real. They kind of smoked and mirrored us to the idea that they were really playing good baseball, but they truly were. But that break, just like last year, the Dodgers were just so flat. That's what the problem was. But it goes back to exactly what you were saying, Jeff, and I have to admit it. You have to sometimes take your fan hat off and understand that the pitching just wasn't there. Clayton Kershaw, that's not him from 5 years ago. Shit, that's not even Clay Kershaw from 2 years ago. That guy is the true definition of a shell of yourself, okay? And Lance Lynn was pretty much what you got because you didn't want to give up the farm. If you wanted to give up but we did the smart thing, though. We did the smart thing. Think about that. Because if you go after Verlander, you were going to have to give up your top prospects for a guy who's not even going to play. If you want to go back and get back into the Max Scherzer business, you were going to have to give up stuff for old men. You don't want to do that. So the Dodgers did the smart thing. The Dodgers could have went and got an all-star team at the trade deadline that everybody wanted them to go get. But the Dodgers have a plan in place, and the plan in place is to go get that guy that plays for the team across the street from Disneyland, and that's Mr. Shohei Ohtani. And I think that they're just not going to go after Ohtani. They're going to go after whoever else is the big fish in the pond as well too, because the Dodgers know that this year was a big slap in the face to the fans, because show you how good the team is, because they were literally not trying. And I didn't even see us as a 100-win team this year, Jeff. You know that. I said I'd be happy if we win 92 games. I even had us under the 96 that they won this year. And I was kind of disappointed that we won 100 games, because I said we didn't struggle enough. We didn't get enough of those games. You know, we got to coast again after the All-Star break. You know what I mean? We were having those games before the All-Star break. We were having those moments, but it just winds up being where the Dodgers got way too comfortable, and we looked over at the other side and said, it ain't nothing but the D-backs. We always kick their ass. And it just didn't work out like that. And you know what? The Orioles were a great example of being like that too. The Yankees and Red Sox always look over and say, oh man, it's the Orioles. The Orioles, even though they're a 100-year-old rival to both of those teams, it's still the Orioles, the team that we used to use as a minor league farm system as a pro team. You know what I mean? So, it's just a year of a rising where these bad teams have finally arisen. And I just really feel like we're making all the right moves now in baseball. You got the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates ready to become good teams again. Real good teams again. You also have the Chicago Cubs, who probably were going to be going shopping, and you need them as well too. Your Red Sox, the Yankees, the baseball is in a good place, in my opinion, moving forward. And this is still a great playoff, even though it did not go to the plans of what they got going on in that office, because I know they wanted to have these games a little bit more extended. They want to get the revenue for these games. And one thing that I had to agree upon is, and it's just what it is, we got too many playoff teams, dude. Yeah, that was great. You had a good season, Arizona, but 84 wins, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, you got in on 84 wins, and you were able to do what you did because the way momentum works in baseball. But I feel like baseball was better when we had the just go straight to the championship series, because literally you're rewarding teams for trying. You know what I mean? They didn't truly get to the playoffs. You just gave them a spot there. It should come down to who won the East and who won the West. It's that simple. I feel like the season's too long to be adding extra games, man. It's just too long. And then you're going to give me 5 days off? Like, this is not like the NFL where you need the 5 days off. Baseball, you just need 2 days off. You're getting tired of being around your family. People, you ain't seen these people all year long, and they need stuff. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day. But the Dodgers will be fine. And also, to everybody who's the armchair GM, Dave Roberts isn't getting fired, because you don't get managers who win 100 games a year automatic like he's been doing for the last 4. You just don't get rid of that. Why? Because when you get rid of that, you got San Diego and San Francisco on line 1. And Jeff, you know this. They will fire their manager the next day to bring in Dave Roberts to run their show. And that's why you got to hold on to Dave Roberts until he's useless. And at this point, he's not useless. All right. I'm not putting nothing on Dave Roberts. And really, Dave Roberts should never really be the one getting blamed. He's not the one hitting and pitching at the end of the day. Yes, you're making the decisions and things like that. But the Dodgers are supposed to be a great team. So every decision he makes is supposed to be a good one. But if they don't perform, then they just don't perform. That's baseball.
I agree 1,000%, sir. 1,000%. You know, the first reaction's always the manager's fault. And this year, I mean, listen, the proof's in the pudding. You just your front end staff was a shell of itself. Your premium top of the line hitters 1 for 21. You ran into a hot team, and you know listen, if you lost in 5, you lost in the NLDS, or you lost in the World Series. There's only one champion, so you learn from your mistakes. You know, you hope some people come back healthy. You hope that you bring a couple up from the farm system. You make your right choices in the free agency, and you just get ready for the spring pop.
Yep. And you know what? If Mookie Betts and them have to be guys that you may need to move on from, then you know what? If you see something right, then you might have to do it. I'm keeping it real. You know what I mean? Because if I was a Dodgers general manager, everybody's on everybody's on alert. Ain't nobody safe. You know what I mean? I'm sitting up here paying you millions on millions, $250 million contract for you to go go 0 for 25. Nah, dude, can't do it. Can't do it. Can't be performing all year. Can't be performing all year, then decide to not perform when it's time. You know what I mean? Freddie Freeman, I understand. You hurt your knee. The ball went right off Freddie's knee. Freddie wasn't the same. Freddie was over there doing all types of extra stuff to try to get it going. I never saw that from Mookie Betts. I just saw a guy out there like, well, you know, I'm getting paid, bro. You know what I mean? I'm getting paid. And that's why Boston didn't mind just handing his ass over to us. See, the little things that locals know about their teams that people don't know about their teams.
I'm telling you.
You know, that's what y'all don't get. Y'all be like, why you want to move on from him? Because we know him. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you.
You know, and it's funny because we saw this in the playoffs before. Mookie struggled in the playoffs when he was young. And again, you become that star. You get a $350 million contract. And it's great the second half that he had. And his numbers for the regular season were phenomenal. But that's all that anyone's going to remember is what you did in the playoffs. It's what have you done for me lately? And again, listen, we moved on from him. If you had to, you can move on from him as well. Don't move on from Freddie Freeman now. I'll take him in a heartbeat. You can keep Mookie. I'll keep Freddie Freeman, though.
Right now, I'm not moving Freddie. Freddie probably the only one because Freddie is a baseball player, dude. That's the thing. Freddie is the essence of what baseball is all about. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. It's baseball. You know, we know how tough it is to get to the World Series. We know how tough it is to win a championship. Some teams make it look easy. Some teams make it really hard on themselves. It's just the game. That's what it is at the end of the day. But let's move forward because we spent a lot more time on the Dodgers